Hi everybody, welcome to Conversations at Kerrie's Korner on this Tuesday in September. We are approaching fall very quickly. Before we get started today, I just want to make a mention about my lamp. It's not a hat, it's a lamp because of where I am recording right now, which is in my home. And so you'll see that from time to time as I talk. It's not a hat, so hold all your comments wondering what it is. It's just a lampshade. So welcome to Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. What a difficult 2 weeks in the United States of America. And I hazard to think it's not just in the United States of America. The feeling that so many of us feel is a feeling that is around the world. Outrage, disappointment, fear, confusion. What next? How could this happen? I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on. And you can question and question and question. So it brings me to the subject of my podcast today. And that's in the aftermath of the Kirk assassination. It has shaken so many people, not only in the United States, but around the world. And it's shaken them to their core beliefs, their faith. I've done an awful lot of thinking in the last almost 2 weeks now. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow that this assassination took place. And I really believe we are all, not just in the United States, but around the world, we are at a crossroads. We are at a pivotal turning point in our history as a race, a human race. And I feel like this particular time has been preordained. And that's hard to say that, because then you say to yourself, well, how can Charlie Kirk's assassination, how could it happen? Why did it happen? As a Christian myself, I often find myself questioning the plan, the things that happen in our lives. How does this happen? Why does this happen? How does he let this happen? And that's all questioning your faith. And I think regardless of whatever your faith is, around the world as a society, we are all staring at our faith. And I think we all have a very distinct decision to make. We're either going to believe and honor and live the way our faith dictates we should, or we're going to let anarchy and hate and division and violence, ignorance, narcissism, selfishness, loathing. We're going to let all of those things continue to divide and drive our own destruction. And that's where I feel we are. I think we all are at a point where a decision is a decision, and you're either going to take your decision and take your step and do all you can to fix this, that this never happens again, or you're just going to continue down the same road that we've been going, which is a road of self-annihilation, a road of fraught with dark forces and evil, not joy, happiness, love, content, future, dreams. It is astounding when you look at the events that led to his death, his assassination, all of the things that happened in progression, all of the outside forces, and then the assassination. And you can only come to one conclusion if you're a person of faith, that this was a divine plan. Now, in the Christian faith, we don't believe that God purposefully lets these things happen, but he doesn't stop them from happening. Humans have free will, but the result of humans' free will is in his plan. I think that Charlie Kirk's life was preordained. Because if you look at everything he said as an individual, what he believed, his core principles, there's really no other way this could have played out. For him to have the gargantuan impact that he's had on this decision, this very personal, individualistic decision of faith. Faith walking the right road or faith walking the wrong road, not having it. Turning your back on faith. Turning your back on your loved ones, your neighbors, your country, your world. That's where we are. We're at that precipice where each and every person has a decision. We're either going to go and support and encourage and be a part of a solution, or we're going to continue down this road of narcissistic, individualistic selfishness. Probably one of the most amazing things I've ever witnessed was Charlie Kirk's widow forgiving the man that murdered her husband. The strength, the faith that it took to even utter those words is truly a miracle. She's 35 years old. She's got 2 tiny babies under the age of 4. Her husband's been murdered. Their father's been murdered violently for no reason except hate and division and ignorance and stupidity at the behest and the encouragement of a political party. And she forgives him. Looking for an example in the world today of what is right and what is wrong. If you don't come to that conclusion, then you don't have faith. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. Life is hard. So many are struggling on whatever level, with whatever you're struggling with as an individual or as a family, as a country, as a state, as a city. I mean, everybody in their own way has their own challenges. And it's how you dig deep and find the positives in the negatives, find the encouragement and the inspiration to be better, to do better, to support and encourage each other so they can do better. That's what his entire message was all about. And love, faith and love. I feel there's a cataclysmic shift right now in faith. And I pray that the soldiers of faith come together like we've not seen ever before. And defeat all of this negative hate that's everywhere else. Because it's a cancer upon society. It's a cancer upon individuals who are spreading it, and it's a cancer upon the people they are spreading it to. And we all have to do a better job of calling it out and letting those who are spreading it know we're just not going to accept it anymore. And do whatever it is within our power as individuals to remove that from our lives. Whether that's removing that person from office, whatever it is, it's up to us as individuals to call it out when it's unacceptable. We have to step up, step out, and be heard, and defend the things that we believe in at all costs. If we don't, what are we doing? We're just surviving. We're not living. We're not thriving. We're not pursuing our ultimate destiny and our goals and our dreams. We're just surviving. I don't want to just survive. I don't want to listen to any of it anymore. I am going to make a commitment to myself that every time I hear it, hate and division and rhetoric from whomever it's coming from, I'm going to call it out. It has to be a united effort for all of us who believe that that is not right, that we can never allow an American ever again on American soil to be murdered, assassinated because he believed in the way that he did, which other people didn't agree with. And they resorted to violence. We have to hold him accountable. There has to be law, there has to be rules, there has to be societal rules. Can't live in anarchy, can't live in bedlam. There's rules. When the rules are broken, justice must be delivered. And it's up to us as the citizens of the nation and of the world to make sure that that is what happens. And we also have to be willing to come back to the table, talk about our issues intelligently, respectfully, listening, and if we disagree, we just have to agree that we're going to disagree non-violently and let it go. This can't happen again. Happens again, and God forbid it happens with the wrong side, meaning a victim on the other side. I shudder to think. I'm so proud of the people on the conservative movement who didn't run to the streets, who didn't riot, who didn't burn cars or buildings or attack police officers or other individuals. No, we didn't do that. We did not do that. We did not turn to violence. We turned to prayer. And that's the answer. In whatever faith it is, whatever faith you are a believer of, you are free in the United States of America to believe and worship any faith you want. We have to use our faith to fortify our drive to remove those people in our lives, in our societies, and in our government that do not believe in that aren't willing to sit at the table and disagree rationally, calmly, intelligently, by listening and not reverting to violence. That can't be acceptable. And unfortunately, in this case, this young man that assassinated Charlie Kirk, he has to be held accountable. because our society cannot survive if an American murdered on American soil, if that individual who committed that crime is not brought to justice, this country will fall. I believe that. There must be accountability. There's no accountability, there's no laws, and then anarchy and complete chaos will take over. It starts in faith, though. One nation under God, individual with liberty and justice for all. One nation under God. We have to be living in a righteous society. Those who don't fit in the society won't. And we all have a decision. At this moment, I feel like we all have a decision. We either dedicate ourselves and our lives to the righteous way, or we don't. And I feel like everybody is at that point, in some way, in whatever your faith is, whatever you believe in. Doesn't have to be a religious belief, but I personally feel that way. You may not. That's what it's all about. Respecting the other's perspective and point of view and belief system. We have to be able to do that. More now than ever, we have to be able to do that. And I'm encouraging anybody or everybody that sees this or hears this to say to yourself, am I committed to that? Am I willing to call out those who are not? Because that's what it's going to take. And I really hope you take a few minutes to send to all of those affected by this horrible assassination on both sides, the victim and the perpetrator, their families, support, encouragement, prayers, faith, and support. They're all going to need it. God bless you on this Tuesday as we head into fall. Time of change. It really is a time of change in our societies, in our countries, and in our world. Faith. We're at a turning point. It's a big one. Thanks for joining me today at Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. Kerrie's Korner, what is that? Well, that is the name of a company that my precious mother had many, 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 many years ago. And when I opened my second business, I wanted to honor her life and her legacy by using that name again. And the business was named after me. And so my secondary business is Kerrie's Korner. And that's where that name comes from, to honor my mother. I can remember as a little girl coming to the United States, we spent a lot of time in the South traveling by car, and we would go to these amazing diners. And you'd walk into these diners and they were so beautiful. They had long bars and chrome, and sometimes people were on roller skates. And as a young girl coming from Australia, we didn't have those sorts of things. And it's the epitome of Americana. You drive into a small town and you find a diner, you go in and you have a cup of coffee, a slice of pie or a Coke and a hamburger. You sit down and you have a conversation with somebody, and it can be a conversation that literally changes how you feel and think about something. I can remember watching my mother do this all the time. She never knew a stranger. She'd sit down and have a cup of coffee and have a conversation, and 2 hours later, she would have made potentially a lifelong friend. The willingness to talk and communicate is a powerful, powerful tool. And we've all got to get back to talking to each other face to face with dignity and respect and listening, because that's when change starts. I challenge all of us to do that. If you haven't had a conversation with somebody in a while and you don't necessarily agree with that person, why don't you pick up the phone and just say, "Hi, I'm just checking to see how you doing. Was thinking about you today. Hadn't talked to you in a while. Just wanted to say hello." That's how it starts. That's how we get back to the table to talk to each other, to work out all of these divisive problems that we have around the world. Listening, talking, and agreeing if we don't agree, to agree. It's okay to disagree. We're going to agree to disagree respectfully, intelligently, without violence. That's the solution. And we've got to get back there. And I hope you share this video with your circle of influence, and then hopefully it just spreads out and it starts a dialogue. That's what we need. Communication with each other, non-violently. Many blessings to you on this Tuesday. This is Kerrie, and this is Conversations at Kerrie's Corner. Have a great Tuesday. Be safe, and God bless the United States of America. See you soon.